What up, Hyperchange? Welcome to another episode. Today we're going to dive into GM's electrification plans. I just got off a live stream, GM EV Day, they held today. This event in Michigan where they had CEO Mary Barra and her executive team outline GM's plans and electrification strategy for the company for the next decade or so, who they're partnering with, how they're building production, their targets. Really interesting to get an under the hood look at what GM is planning here. This was geared towards investors in the media, sort of selling them on what this future is that GM is working on. The high level message is they are all in on electric vehicles and electrification. This is the future. They want to reinvent their company, be known for this. They are literally going, they said it, all in on electric vehicles. So that is exciting and that is awesome. But that's to me where sort of the hype and excitement stopped. I mean, this event was 99.9% generic business lingo and just buzzwords and like all sizzle, no steak, like such little substance about new products, details about data, metrics, specs of new products. All of that was left out. It was all hype and just buzzwords, essentially. I don't know. I was kind of frankly extremely underwhelmed and disappointed. And I do think GM is actually one of the leaders in terms of legacy car companies moving to EVs. But to see them actually be this behind when they unveil what they're working on makes me more pumped about Tesla as an investor. But anyway, so let's just get into it. So GM, to start, their big announcement here is this thing called Ultium, which is their new battery pack architecture technology framework, this new battery platform that's very modular. It can range from 50 kilowatt hours to 200 kilowatt hour packs, depending on how they arrange it. It comes with a battery pack with these different modules in the battery pack, which each have different cells. It can enable up to 400 miles of range for certain cars. This new battery pack technology is in a partnership with LG Chem, who they are investing $2.3 billion in this joint venture to build this battery plant, which is going to have a capacity of 30 gigawatt hours for all of these new vehicles. This Ultium battery pack, their big selling point on it is how flexible this platform is. They even show like pouch cells or prismatic cells that can fit in different modules of the pack. So their whole ideology and what they're pitching here is, as they develop new chemistries and new and better batteries come out, they can still fit them in this Ultium platform. It's really built for a rapid pace of innovation, which I think sounds great, but then when you boil into the details, it's actually like so vague, and it's like, what does that mean? Tesla's moving away from modules because they're way too redundant, yet GM is like doubling down on this redundancy in their battery packs. I think that's an interesting dichotomy. Additionally, you have LG Chem building most of this and building the actual cells, even though they're touting how vertically integrated they are. They're still relying on LG to actually get that core battery technology. Additionally, they're touting this $100 per kilowatt hour metric that everyone touts is like, that's going to be price parity where the battery system is comparable for EV to internal combustion engine. That's when, it'll make sense to switch. And then they say we're going to get there with LG Chem. Do they provide a timeline on that? No. So they have like all these big goals, but when you actually talk about the details, when are they going to hit that 30 gigawatt hour numbers? When do you hit that $100 per kilowatt, price point? We don't know. They don't talk about it. They do say at a high level, though, their goal is to sell 1 million electrified vehicles per year. I couldn't tell if it was in North America and China each or combined by the year 2025. So that gives you a sense of, Tesla selling about 500,000 this year, but GM wants to be doing, about 1 million EVs in the next 5 years. So that's great. But I thought what was also so funny is they hyped it up at the beginning and they were like, everything we're going to show you today is real. We promise it's real. First of all, I was like, why are you saying that? It felt like they were like pinky promising that everything they're going to show is real. It's like, why don't you just show it instead of like having to, it just seemed like projection, like the psychological thing of like when something's vaporware and BS, but you're trying to hide it. So you overcorrect it by pointing it out. And it felt like that's what they kept doing. They're like, this is real. Every vehicle we're showing you could be in customer hands by the year 2025. It's like, that's 5 years away. No one's going to hold you accountable to that. And you didn't even say which vehicles are going to be in consumers' hands by then. So it was like so generic, so many buzzwords. It was such a letdown. But anyway, so they have this new battery pack they're working on, really fancy, next generation tech. What cars, what vehicles is this going into? What are these game-changing products that are going to change the automotive industry? So the first one, unveiled about a month ago, that's going to use this new battery technology is the Cruise Origin. This is built by their GM self-driving subsidiary they acquired a year or two ago. This multi-passenger van sort of vehicle that will drive autonomously around cities and ferry passengers around. It looks awesome, but have they actually achieved full autonomy to launch a public service? No. So who knows when that'll actually be like existing in the real world and you'll be able to ride it around San Francisco. But that's the first vehicle using this technology. The second vehicle using this technology, I want to get this right because it's tricky, is the 2022 Bolt EUV, which is a Chevy Bolt, their main flagship electric vehicle with a slightly longer 5-inch wheelbase, or the wheelbase is 5 inches longer, I guess. And this 2022 Bolt EUV will be beginning production in 2021 and will be unveiled in the summer of 2020. So they didn't even unveil this new Bolt, but that's coming out in about a year or a year and a half, which will be the second vehicle that'll have this new Ultium battery technology. After that, they have this thing called the Cadillac Lyric, which they only unveiled like the silhouette of. I think they're actually going to unveil it officially on April. But that vehicle is going to be launching in China in 2021 and the US in 2022 with this new battery technology. Then the third vehicle that will be coming out with this, also in 2021, is the new Hummer, which they say is going to have a 200 kilowatt hour battery pack. And that Hummer is going to begin, or scheduled to begin production in late 2021. And so we didn't actually really see any of those vehicles. The Hummer is apparently going to get unveiled in May. But those are the first three cars that are actually going to come to market with this new battery technology. But once again, the timelines were super loose. I had to go into these press articles to actually even figure out what the timelines were. GM didn't even put out an official press release on their investor page. They just have the live stream of the event. They didn't really talk about autonomy much or at all, what their technology is there, how they're developing that in accordance with these new vehicles. One thing I thought was sort of a huge red flag they kept mentioning is they're like, we asked customers what they want, and customers told us they want the exact same thing they're driving today, so we're going to build them the exact same thing they're driving today, but electric with 300 miles of range, and that's how we're going to win. And I just felt like that is the exact wrong, like GM spending millions of dollars on all these consumer focus groups, marketing surveys to ask people what they want is just like backwards. Like, I don't know, I think that's the worst way to design the product for the future. I'm totally in the Steve Jobs camp of like, people don't know what they want until you show it to them. And if you're just asking consumers what they want today, you're going to be 10 steps behind. That's exactly what GM did to develop this whole strategy. So I think their entire framework is backwards. I mean, it just like, I don't know, just watching this presentation was just like a waste of 2 hours of my time. Because it was like, you guys really will say like, and you'll drone on for 5 minutes saying like, so we're building this modular new battery platform. It's very flexible. Depending on which new cell chemistries come out, we can put them in a battery pack. So we will constantly, because of this scalable, flexible, modular EV platform, depending on the best technology, we can adapt, leveraging this flexibility to input the best new cell technology, therefore having a key competitive advantage in electrification because of that modularity of the battery pack. So we've designed that in mind with Ultium. Like, what did you even say? You didn't even say anything. Like, and so anyway, just from someone who's used to watching Tesla come in heavy with facts, here's the specs of all our cars, here's when they're coming out, here's the pricing, here's the range, here's how fast they go 0 to 60, here's when we're going to start deliveries, here's how you can follow the production ramp, you know, actually telling you facts about the data and the products. GM didn't say any facts, they didn't even show you the cars. They just said all buzzwords. There was no numbers. There was no concrete timelines. So to me, extremely disappointing. Shows that GM doesn't want to commit to hard timelines or price points or battery cost targets because they don't even know internally when they can hit them. And I don't know. Think about GM. They developed the Bolt, their flagship EV, cost half as much as the Model 3 after dealer incentive and discounts. Last year, it sold about 16,000 units here in the US. The Model 3 sold about 160,000 units. So Tesla is outselling them 10 to 1 with their flagship product. And, you know, so when I think about, like, I don't know. I'm like, what gives here? Like, is, you know, by the time all of these cars come out in a year and a half, the Model 3, the Model Y are going to be way better. They're going to have way longer range. They're going to have way better autonomy features. And GM, as far as I'm concerned, the specs they're saying are, who knows what they even are. They didn't even tell us what the range is of these new vehicles. So I don't know. I'm kind of like left like just disappointed in like, I don't know. One of my biggest pet peeves is like business lingo and all fluff and no substance. And that's what this entire event was. And so kind of a bummer, but from the perspective of a Tesla investor and electric vehicle enthusiast, like I am pumped to see GM saying like, we're going to invest billions of dollars. We're going to try our best. We're going to bring all these new cars to market. So that is exciting. And it's also exciting from the Tesla investor perspective of like, wow, Tesla is so far ahead on this technology. You know, watching legacy automakers trying to reinvent their entire business model, from the top down to just copy Tesla as fast as possible, I think is fascinating and a sign of who is really leading the industry today. Anyway, that wraps up my analysis of GM's EV Day. All sizzle, no steak, no substance, all hype. We didn't even really learn anything other than that GM is pumped about electric vehicles and they are going to push in that direction. Who knows when, who knows with what cars, who knows what they look like, who knows how much range they have, who knows how much they cost, who knows when they're actually going to come to market and exist. Nobody, but I guess that wasn't the point of this event. Anyway, this is Hyperchange. Would love to know what you think in the comments below. Was I hating on them too hard? I don't know. I hope not. But let me know what you think. Shout out to our Patreon supporters and producers. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.